And we're back. This is KG and the Fifth Ward Wildcat with our latest and greatest podcast. How you doing, sir?
Just finding you this morning, sir. Good. Real good. It's the middle of the week. It's hump day.
Yes, sir. We're doing very well. Thank you once again for listening. What do you want to talk about, sir? And I'm in a bitter foul mood toward the NBA because they are really pissing me off with their non-negotiating and lack of progress toward reaching a new agreement. But I will discuss them briefly. I want to get your thoughts on this. The Euroleague president said,
"That's what I was waiting."
That he doubts that Euroleague teams will sign players, NBA players, especially without clauses in the contracts, because he says that clubs need to have stable rosters. He does not believe that they will allow players, NBA players, to come over for a month and then go back if the lockout ends. So if that is the case, there's one less option for NBA players to have available to them during the lockout.
Those teams in those particular leagues, well, in the Euroleague, I put it like that.
So the money league, those teams have money.
Okay, all right. Now that resolves that question. Number two is apparently that particular league is connected more so with the NBA on a regular basis as far as interacting than the other leagues, because apparently I hear a lot more Southeast Asia teams are starting to come into play as far as these guys talking about going playing.
Well, China, the guys, NBA guys believe China has more money to spend than the Euroleague teams, the teams in Greece, teams in Spain, because despite those leagues having money, the country as a whole is having economic problems. So they may be cutting back on spending lavishly on star players, international star players especially. So there's not that many options for NBA star players to make money overseas with a lockout. China is still holding fast to their basically the same thing. We're not going to allow NBA players come over here and then go back. They have to stay for the whole contract. So if China is sticking with that, very few NBA guys are going to be willing to play in China for a year and probably make less money assuming the lockout ends, which is a whole other issue, because I don't think the lockout's going to end anytime soon. I think the whole season will be wiped out. So, despite LeBron James saying, I believe Monday, saying that he's optimistic that there will be a season.
Young Bucks. Young Bucks.
I admire his optimism, but unless LeBron and star players get on negotiation to say, okay, this is what we want. Let's talk. What do you want to do? This is what we want to do. Let's get this done. So what happens is there's not going to be a season.
Well, folks, one thing I'll be posting later on today, a conversation with a young man that is playing overseas in the Ukraine and Turkey.
That's different, man. Ukraine's in like Russia, isn't it? Turkey, Ukraine. Who was the young man?
Young man is Lorenzo Williams, former Rice Isle player.
And when will this interview be posted, sir?
It'll be posted at the blogger, CSR blogger. It is aksv.blogspot.com.
And you are again?
I am the Fifth Ward Wildcat.
Do you have Twitter?
I have Twitter, hashtag AKSV,
And as he says here at the Fifth Ward Wildcat, I am KG. My website, the Houston Roundball Review website, is www.houstonroundballreview.com. I'm also on Twitter at THEHR Review. Also on YouTube, I have a Facebook fan page as well. So now we talk about how long, what does those say?
He talks about a lot of things.
And of course, don't give away your whole interview. You still want folks to read it.
And matter of fact, you can find it that it'll be located at the blog, but you will locate the blog from www.kingsizeview.com, which is online. The monthly news magazine is in print, and weekly, daily contributors are adding to the website. Most recently, as this past weekend, my blog will be updated as of today. The conversation between Zoe and I, it consisted of several things. One, why he was in the gym, working out over at Rice. Two, it talks about his time there at Rice and his experience in playing overseas. He talks about training camp, and he talks about the regular season. And he gives a very blunt view of what the league, the Euroleague, is overseas, what can happen, and what you have to be prepared for. One of the big things he talks about, and I'll let you listen to what he has to say this afternoon, he talks about the culture shock. And a lot of guys are not accustomed to one or two things. One, trying to overcome the language barrier, and two, living arrangements.
Sounds good. Now you were at Rice Saturday or so, over the weekend?
Yeah, on the weekend.
And you were also there at Rice for what?
Football Media Day. It was interesting, to say the least. It was the first time since I've been covering them that both coordinators and the head coach both spoke on Media Day. Didn't do a lot of conversation. It was the first time since I've been covering Rice over this period that both coordinators and the head coach was involved in speaking on Football Media Day. It was interesting in that the fact that this is a senior-laden squad. Last time they had a successful season football-wise was when they had Chase, J.D., Jared Dillon, who is now playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Chase, who played in the offshoot league for Las Vegas this year for football. That group, when they Rice had a 10-win season, an All-American, and they won a bowl game. So it'll be interesting on how this group transpires compared to what that senior group did. The other thing is that looking forward to this first game against Texas, it should be a statement game for both teams of where they are mentally and where they will go from there. Will it be just two ships passing in the night, or whether one ship will be headed off in the right direction and the other chasing?
What do you think will happen?
Statement, Texas should do what Texas does. That is squash. Rice should be able to play with them up to a point.
Is that point the first quarter, second quarter? Will it be a game at halftime?
Halftime. And then adjustments, bam. Changes should be made and things should be moving forward.
What do you predict for Rice football this year?
They should have a 7-win season this year.
Will one of those wins once again be over my Houston Cougars?
That'll be interesting. That would be real interesting because I won't say that the difference has been quarterback because Case has only missed one game over the last 2 years against
right. Missed last year, yeah.
And that was the second or third win.
It was second the last 3 years.
Yeah,
both at Rice.
So there you go. It'll depend on mentally where teams are at that point. And speaking of that, you remember last week we mentioned about A&M and Oklahoma, and you were mentioning how the polls and all had
Oklahoma number one. Mm-hmm.
Now, sad to say, on yesterday, Oklahoma lost their Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year, Mr. Lewis. Hell of a player. It'll be interesting how this group picks up the slack and moves forward because he is definitely a leader of this squad this year. He's supposed to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Hopefully not that long, but you never know, especially with a foot bone.
And he's going to miss the September 17th game versus Florida State in Tallahassee, so that's going to be a big blow to them. And to see here, and he's there, I think, leading tackler, Travis Lewis, his name, broke him on in his left foot. So, we'll see how much. We'll see if OU's depth will be enough to make up for his absence.
That would be a key for all teams involved.
Is I think fifth in the poll, preseason poll. Soon as number one. It should be a very good matchup. We'll see what both teams are on September 17th. Let's talk about Yao Ming, contributor, being nominated for Basketball Hall of Fame. What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's great because that's what that's who he was. He changed the mentality of a nation, a nation of two continents, based toward both basketball prowess and financial gain. Because let's admit this to one specific point, it was a crapshoot as far as a basketball player, but the offshoot that reaped rewards for everybody involved was financial, both for the league, for the Rockets, for the city, and for a lot of players in the league now that have endorsements and financial backing from China.
So, real quick, because this will be my last thoughts on NBA related stuff. JVG Jeff Van Gundy told Mark Berman of Fox Sports Houston that he believes Yao shouldn't go in as a contributor. He thinks Yao should wait and try to for his 5-year and go in as a basketball player. So do you agree with that? I'm not too sure. I think Yao is deserving of going in the Hall of Fame as a basketball player.
Well,
contributor, no doubt.
I need to do my research now as far as the numbers, and I'll compare it to his amount of time in the league and injuries and minutes. Compare with other guys that are already in the Hall of Fame, not just guys from overseas, but from guys here in the league. Because somebody mentioned over the weekend about his best year in the league. I think it was 06-07 when he was averaging about 23 and 13.
That sounds about the right year. He was dominant. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you look back at that particular year, how many years did he have that he averaged double-double over the season? At least, let's say, 40 games.
Well, personally, he's got to do it for a whole year. More than once. That's Hall of Fame to me. Yao was great for maybe 2-3 years, and he was dominant. He was healthy. And health is part of it in my criteria as well. So, basketball player-wise, I'd say no. You go back and look at the numbers, and maybe things will change in my viewpoint. But right now, basketball-wise, I'd say no. Contributor, without a doubt.
And it's still boiled back to what we've always discussed as far as the Hall of Fame, people that are voting. And since you and I are not on that committee, we can bring stuff to the committee, but we can't vote on it. So what it'll boil down to is how it's presented to the committee and how the committee will vote.